Hey there. Ever feel like when it comes to building wealth, some people have like a secret playbook that, only they know about? Well, today we're going to unlock that playbook. We're going to break down how to use real estate, to build lasting wealth. We'll be focusing on insights from Don and Susie Karstedt, the real estate masterminds behind Rethinking Real Estate.
Yeah. Don and Susie have a fascinating approach. They don't just focus on earning more. It's about creating a system, right? A system that generates wealth, and real estate plays a key role in that system.
Okay, so let's jump in. One of the first things that really stood out to me in their work was this emphasis on something called passive income. What exactly is that, and how does it relate to real estate?
Passive income is kind of like, think of it as money that works for you even when you're sleeping. And tax attorney Toby Mathis, who Don and Susie cite quite a bit, he actually identifies 5 main types of passive income. There's rents, royalties, dividends, interest, and short-term capital gains from things like options trading.
5 types. Whoa, okay. So it's not just about finding that one magic source, right? It's about potentially creating multiple streams of this passive income.
Yeah, you got it. And Don and Susie, they really highlight real estate and dividend-paying stocks as some of the most effective ways to generate that kind of consistent, hands-off income.
That makes sense. So, for example, you buy a rental property and it generates income month after month, or you invest in, a really solid company and they send you a dividend check.
Yeah.
It's almost like planting a money tree.
Exactly. And Don and Susie are big believers in this principle called the 70-30 rule to help those money trees grow.
Okay, the 70-30 rule. I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. What is it all about?
So imagine taking your take-home pay, right, and dividing it up like a pie. You live off 70% of that pay, and the remaining 30%, well, you split that equally between giving, paying off any debts you have, and investing that money.
So it's not just about earning more, but being smart with what you actually earn. You're prioritizing both your present needs and your future goals.
Yeah, you nailed it. And Don and Susie would say this forces you to make conscious choices about your money, right?
Yeah.
And to think long term. And it aligns with all the financial habits that they see in really successful people. Another expert, Tom Ferry, has noticed a similar thing. The wealthiest people that he knows all seem to own real estate, right? They invest in businesses that generate that cash flow, and they hold those dividend-paying stocks.
So let's dive into the specifics of real estate now. Why do Don and Susie believe it's such a powerful tool for building wealth, especially for people with higher incomes?
Well, they see real estate as this unique asset with so many advantages. I mean, it's tangible, right? You can see it, you can touch it. Plus, it can appreciate over time. You can bring in rental income from it, and it can even offer some tax benefits. For folks with those higher incomes, real estate can be a really strategic way to kind of manage those tax liabilities.
They also talk about setting up the right legal structure, right, for your real estate ventures, things like LLCs. Why is that so important?
Yeah. Think of LLCs as like a shield for your personal assets. You're separating your personal finances from your business ventures, and that can be a lifesaver if things ever, go south with a particular property. And Don and Susie, they're all about minimizing risk, right, and maximizing protection for their clients.
So it's almost like you're playing chess with your finances, right? You're thinking several moves ahead, and you're setting yourself up for success in the long run.
Exactly. Now, another strategy they talk about is levering assets.
Okay, I have to admit, levering. That sounds a bit like, financial jargon. Can you explain it to me? Maybe, explain it in a way that, even I can understand.
Absolutely. Imagine using your existing assets, like your house or some stocks that you have, as collateral, to buy more assets. It's like using what you already have to multiply your investment power.
So you're not just slowly saving up. You're using what you already have to, kind of get more what you want.
Precisely. Now, this might involve taking on some debt. But Don and Susie would be quick to point out that not all debt is bad debt. They reference Toby Mathis a lot, and he distinguishes between, debt that you have on things that lose value, like, your car, and debt on those appreciating assets, like real estate, which can actually work to your advantage.
Okay, so it's about using good debt strategically to grow your wealth, not just, to accumulate a bunch of stuff that loses value over time.
Exactly. And this leads us to one of Don and Susie's favorite examples of how this can work in the real world, the 1031 exchange. They actually had a client who used this strategy brilliantly to, build their real estate portfolio.
Now, the 1031 exchange, I've heard of that, but I always thought that was for those big-time real estate moguls, not really for everyday investors. Can you remind me how that works?
Yeah, so it's basically a way to defer paying capital gains taxes when you sell a property, right? As long as you reinvest those profits that you make from that sale into a new property. So essentially, you're rolling your gains into a new investment and you're letting that money grow tax-free.
So you can keep building your portfolio without getting slammed with a massive tax bill every time you sell. That sounds like a huge advantage.
It is. And Don and Susie actually shared a real-world example that really brings this to life. One of their clients used a 1031 exchange to buy a property in Star, Idaho.
Star, Idaho. Okay, tell me more about this Star, Idaho story. What were the details? How did this client actually benefit? How did they use this 1031 exchange?
So this client, they already owned some real estate, right? And when they were ready to sell, they used that 1031 exchange to take those profits and buy a much more valuable property in Star, Idaho, all while deferring those capital gains taxes.
Whoa, that's impressive. It's like they leveled up their real estate game without having to pay this like big tax penalty. It shows the power of playing the long game and understanding these strategies.
Exactly. And this case really illustrates how the 1031 exchange, combined with, smart leveraging, can be a total game changer for, building wealth through real estate.
All of this is so fascinating. But before we get too deep into, all the ins and outs of real estate, let's take a step back for a second and talk about mindset. Don and Susie really seem to believe that mindset is this key ingredient, right, for wealth creation.
Absolutely. They emphasize that it's not just about the tactics and strategies, right? It's about cultivating the right mindset. And one of the most powerful shifts they encourage is adopting that long-term perspective.
Okay, a long-term perspective. We hear this a lot, but how do Don and Susie specifically define that? And why is that so important when we're talking about wealth creation?
Don and Susie really believe that, building lasting wealth, it's like running a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
Real estate, it's a long-term investment. Patience and a willingness to ride out the ups and downs of the market, those are key.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're not just trying to time the market perfectly or get rich quick. It's about those smart strategic moves that pay off over time.
Exactly. And this long-term approach is where that magic of compounding really comes into play.
Okay, compounding. It's a word we hear all the time when we talk about finance. But I got to admit, I still kind of get a little fuzzy on the details. Can you break that down for me in a way that even I can understand?
Okay, imagine like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, right? But as it picks up speed, it picks up more snow. So it gets bigger and bigger. That's compounding in action. Your returns generate more returns, and that leads to this like exponential growth over time.
And so like this chain reaction of growth. Your money earns money, and then that money earns even more money.
You got it. And in real estate, compounding it works through appreciation. So your property value increases over time, and through rental income that cash flow your properties generate. It's this powerful combination that can really build serious wealth over time.
Incredible. It really highlights how real estate can be this like wealth building machine if you approach it with the right strategies and the right mindset. Now, Don and Susie are known for their expertise in traditional real estate, but they also touch on this kind of alternative investment that I was curious about. Self-storage. It seems a bit unexpected.
Right. You wouldn't think storing people's stuff would be a path to wealth, but it can be surprisingly lucrative. Don and Susie, they bring in insights from Ryan Gibson, a self-storage expert, and he points to some unique advantages of this industry.
Okay, I'm all ears. What makes self-storage so appealing from that, investor standpoint? It seems like something people would cut back on during those tough economic times.
That's what's interesting. It's actually pretty resilient, even in recessions. Gibson, he points to what he calls the 4Ds. Death, divorce, displacement, and downsizing. And those are all life events that often lead people to need storage, no matter what the economy is doing.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it like that. So it's like this need-based business, not just a want-based business. People need storage, even when they're, tighten their belts in other areas of their life.
Exactly. Plus, Gibson points out that self-storage is relatively low maintenance compared to, managing those traditional rental properties. You don't have to deal with as many tenant issues or upkeep. And often there's the potential to increase rents and even add ancillary revenue streams, like maybe selling packing supplies or offering moving services.
So it's a less hands-on approach to real estate investing.
Yeah.
Which could be appealing to some people, right, who want more of that passive income.
Absolutely. And it just goes to show there are many paths to wealth creation. It's about finding what works for you, what aligns with your risk tolerance, and what fits your lifestyle.
Speaking of finding what works, Don and Susie, along with Tom Ferry, they emphasize the importance of mentorship and continuous learning. They seem to be big believers in surrounding yourself with the right people and constantly expanding that knowledge base.
Yeah, they believe you don't achieve success in a vacuum, right? It's about learning from those who have already walked the path, seeking guidance, and constantly challenging yourself to grow.
It's like building a network of knowledge and experience, tapping into the collective wisdom of other successful people.
Exactly. And Ferry, he shares this great story about comedian Kevin Hart. He was actively seeking out interactions with super successful people like, Jeff Bezos. Hart recognized that being in those rooms, absorbing that knowledge and just asking questions, was really important to his own success.
That's a powerful example. It shows that success is not this solo endeavor. It's about being proactive, seeking out those mentors, and just being a sponge for knowledge.
Precisely. And this all ties back to, taking ownership of your financial future. You're not just passively hoping for success, right? You're actively pursuing it. You're seeking that guidance, and you're surrounding yourself with people who can really support your growth.
All this is so inspiring. It's like a roadmap, for anyone who really wants to achieve financial freedom and create a life they love. But I have to ask, Don and Susie, they talk a lot about protecting your assets, especially as you start building wealth. What are some key strategies they recommend?
Well, remember those LLCs that we talked about? Those aren't just for real estate. They can be used for any business venture, and they play a big role in asset protection. When you hold your assets within an LLC, you're essentially creating this legal barrier between your personal wealth and any liabilities that might come up from your business activities.
So if things go wrong with a business or a property, your personal assets are protected. It's like having a safety net in place.
Exactly. And that becomes even more important as you start to accumulate wealth. Don and Susie, they're big advocates for working with experienced professionals like, attorneys who specialize in asset protection. This ensures you're structured properly and that you're protected.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
As your wealth grows, the stakes get higher. So it's critical to have those legal and financial safeguards in place.
Absolutely. And this brings us to another point that Don and Susie emphasize: strategic tax planning. They believe that understanding the tax code and using available strategies can make a huge difference in how much wealth you build.
Okay, taxes. Not the most exciting topic, I'll admit. But it's definitely crucial. How do Don and Susie suggest approaching taxes in a way that actually benefits you rather than feeling like you're constantly being drained?
They see taxes as this game that needs to be played intelligently, not just an obligation, to be endured. They encourage their clients to be proactive, to seek out those tax advantage strategies, and to work with experts who can help them minimize that tax burden legally and ethically.
So it's not about trying to cheat the system. It's about understanding the rules of the game, right? And using those rules to your advantage.
Exactly. Remember that 1031 exchange we talked about? Perfect example. It's a tax advantage strategy that allows you to defer paying taxes on those capital gains when you sell a property, as long as you reinvest those profits into a new property. It's a powerful tool for building wealth through real estate.
Right. It's like this legal loophole that actually benefits you as an investor. Don and Susie even mentioned these cost segregation studies as another way to, reduce that tax liability on your real estate investments.
They do. Now, cost segregation can get a little technical, but it's basically about breaking down a property into its individual components, and then you depreciate those components separately. This leads to bigger tax deductions up front, which frees up more cash flow for you to reinvest.
Okay, so it's a more specialized strategy that might require some expertise.
Oh, great.
But it can potentially save you a lot of money in taxes.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of working with knowledgeable professionals who understand these nuances and who can help you implement those advantageous tax strategies for your situation.
It seems like this recurring theme throughout our deep dive is the importance of seeking expert guidance and leveraging that specialized knowledge, whether it's asset protection, tax strategies, or investment selection. Having the right team in your corner can make a big difference.
Couldn't agree more. And this actually ties into something that Tom Ferry also emphasizes: the importance of building a network of trusted advisors.
Okay, a network of trusted advisors. What kind of experts are we talking about here?
Think of it like assembling this personal board of directors for your financial life. It could include a financial advisor, an attorney, a tax accountant, a real estate agent, and even mentors or coaches, right?
Yeah.
Who can provide guidance and support.
So it's like having a mastermind group for your financial well-being. This team of experts who have your back and who can help you navigate the complexities of wealth creation.
Exactly. And Ferry argues that this network can be invaluable for navigating challenges, making sound decisions, and ultimately achieving your goals. No one can be an expert in everything, right? So having access to specialized knowledge and those different perspectives, it can really help you avoid those costly mistakes and capitalize on the right opportunities.
It's like having a team of superheroes for your finances, each with their own unique superpowers.
Exactly. And this brings us to another point that Don and Susie emphasize, the importance of taking action. They believe that knowledge is only powerful when it's applied. It's not enough to just read books or attend seminars or even, listen to podcasts. You have to take what you learn and put it into practice.
So it's about turning those insights into action, not just letting them sit in your head.
Precisely. Don and Susie are big advocates for what they call imperfect action. They believe it's better to take a step forward, even if it's not perfect, right, than to get paralyzed by overthinking and do nothing at all. They encourage their clients to experiment, to learn from their experiences, and to constantly refine their approach.
It's like the saying, done is better than perfect. Sometimes you just got to dive in and get your hands dirty.
Exactly. And they argue that taking action, even those small steps, it builds momentum and creates this cycle of learning and growth. You learn from those experiences, you adjust your course, and you keep moving forward.
So it's not about having all the answers up front, but about being willing to experiment, make mistakes, and learn along the way. It's about embracing the journey, and knowing that there will be bumps in the road.
Exactly. And this ties into another principle that Don and Susie emphasize, the importance of embracing risk. They see risk as this inherent part of, any growth endeavor, and they believe that avoiding risk can actually limit your potential.
Okay, risk. It's a word that can make people a little nervous. How do Don and Susie suggest approaching risk in a way that feels empowering, not terrifying?
They're all about calculated risk-taking. It's not about being reckless, right? It's about understanding the potential downsides, mitigating those downsides as much as possible, and then having the courage to take that leap. And they believe that as you build wealth, your tolerance for risk will naturally increase as you gain more experience and confidence.
It's like building a muscle. The more you challenge yourself, the stronger and more resilient you become.
Exactly. And they emphasize that the biggest risk of all is often doing nothing. Staying stuck in your comfort zone and letting those opportunities pass you by.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes playing it too safe can be the riskiest move of all. Now, speaking of risk, Don and Susie talk about having that long-term perspective right, especially when it comes to navigating those market fluctuations. Why is that long-term view so crucial for building wealth?
They believe that building lasting wealth, it's like sailing a ship across the ocean. There will be storms, right? And there will be calm seas. But if you stay focused on your destination and keep adjusting your sails, you'll eventually reach your goal. They encourage their clients to just stay the course, even when the market gets choppy.
So it's about riding the waves, knowing that the ups and downs, they're part of the journey, and not getting spooked by those short-term market fluctuations. You got to stay focused on the big picture.
Exactly. And they emphasize that real estate in particular, it's a long-term game. It's about holding on to those properties, weathering the storms, and letting that compounding magic do its work.
It's like being a captain of your financial ship, navigating those choppy waters with confidence and with a clear vision. Now, amidst all this talk about strategy and finance, Don and Susie also emphasize the importance of enjoying the journey, which is a really refreshing perspective.
They believe that building wealth shouldn't be this, joyless grind. It's about finding ways to celebrate your wins, to savor the process, and to appreciate the freedom and the opportunities that come with, that financial success.
It's like making sure you're enjoying the scenery along the way, not just focusing on that final destination.
Exactly. And they argue that this sense of enjoyment and purpose, it can actually fuel your motivation and keep you going, right? When things inevitably get tough, it's about finding that fulfillment in the journey itself, not just the end result.
It makes sense. When you're passionate about what you're doing and you're enjoying the ride, it doesn't feel like work. It becomes this adventure.
Precisely. And this actually leads us to another crucial aspect of wealth creation that Don and Susie highlight, the importance of giving back. They believe that giving back is not just a moral obligation, right? But it's a powerful force that can actually enhance your wealth creation journey.
Okay, this is interesting. How does giving back actually enhance wealth creation? It seems like those two concepts would be separate.
They see it as this virtuous cycle. When you give back, you create a sense of purpose and fulfillment, and that can fuel your motivation and drive. It can also expand your network, which can create opportunities for collaboration and growth. Plus, it just feels good to make a positive impact on the world, right?
So it's about creating this ripple effect of positivity. Your generosity inspires others, opens doors, and ultimately contributes to your own success.
Exactly. And Don and Susie, they emphasize that giving back doesn't have to be limited to financial contributions. It can involve sharing your time, your expertise, or your resources, to make a difference in your community.
It's about using your wealth and influence to create positive change, not just to accumulate more possessions.
Precisely. And this ties into this powerful concept that Toby Mathis highlights, the idea that wealth is a form of energy.
Wealth as energy. That's an interesting thought. Tell me more about this concept.
Mathis, he believes that money is simply a tool, a form of energy that can be used for good or for, not so good. It's up to each individual to decide how they want to direct that energy.
So it's not about the money itself, but about how you use it and the impact that it creates in the world.
Exactly. Mathis argues that when wealth is used in alignment with your values and your purpose, it can create a ripple effect of positive change, making the world a better place.
It's like investing in something bigger than yourself, something that contributes to the well-being of others and leaves a positive mark on the world.
Precisely. And Mathis believes that this approach to wealth can lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful life, both for the giver and the receiver.
It's about aligning your financial goals with your values and creating a legacy that extends beyond your own lifetime.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And this brings us to a point that Tom Ferry really emphasizes: the importance of legacy. He sees legacy as something you build throughout your life, not just something you leave behind.
Okay. Legacy. It's a word that we often associate with, the end of life. But I like how Ferry frames it as something you're actively creating throughout your journey. How does he view legacy in the context of wealth creation?
He believes that true wealth, it encompasses so much more than just money, right? It's about the impact you make on the world, the relationships you cultivate, the values you embody, and the contributions you make to something larger than yourself.
So it's not just about those financial assets that you accumulate, right? It's about those intangible contributions that you make to the world, the lives you touch, the difference you make.
Exactly. Ferry argues that true wealth, it includes your relationships, your health, your experiences, and that positive difference you make in the lives of others. It's about living a life of purpose and meaning, not just chasing after material possessions.
It's about creating a legacy that goes beyond your own lifetime, a ripple effect of positivity that continues to impact the world long after you're gone.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, Don and Susie echo this sentiment when they talk about the importance of balance in wealth creation.
Okay, balance. We hear a lot about, work-life balance these days, but how do Don and Susie define balance when we're talking about building wealth?
They believe that true wealth, it encompasses all aspects of life: your work, your relationships, your health, your personal growth, your contributions to the world. It's about finding this harmony, right, between all of those elements, ensuring no one area overshadows the others.
So it's about creating a life that feels whole and meaningful, not just financially secure, but rich and rewarding on multiple levels.
You got it. Don and Susie are big believers in prioritizing all aspects of life, not just sacrificing everything for the pursuit of wealth, right? They encourage their clients to make time for family, friends, hobbies, self-care activities that bring them joy.
It's about remembering that wealth. It's a tool to enhance your life, not to become your entire life. It's about creating a life you love, not just a bank account that's overflowing.
Exactly. And this brings us to something that might seem a little counterintuitive in our discussion about wealth creation: the importance of failure.
Failure. That's not a word we usually hear alongside success. Why do Don and Susie see failure as an important part of the journey?
They believe that failures are inevitable, right? On any path to success. It's not about avoiding failure, but about reframing it as a learning opportunity. They encourage their clients to embrace those setbacks, learn from their mistakes, and keep moving forward.
So it's about seeing failure as feedback, not as this final verdict. It's about using those experiences to kind of adjust your course and become even stronger.
Precisely. They believe that failures can actually make you more resilient, more resourceful, and more creative in the long run.
Yeah, it's like the saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And it's about having that grit, and that determination to get back up after you fall. Don and Susie also talk a lot about the importance of perseverance, that unwavering commitment to your goals, even when you're faced with all those obstacles.
They do. They see perseverance as, like, the key that unlocks the door to success. It's about having that inner fire, that refusal to give up that keeps you going when things get tough, you know?
It's about not letting those setbacks or doubts derail you from your dreams. It's about having that tenacity to see things through no matter what.
Exactly. Don and Susie believe that perseverance is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who give up too soon. They encourage their clients to develop a mindset of resilience and a belief in their ability to overcome any obstacle.
It's about developing that inner strength and that unwavering belief in yourself, even when the going gets tough.
Precisely. And this leads to another crucial aspect of wealth creation that Don and Susie highlight: the importance of gratitude. They believe that gratitude is this powerful force that can shift your perspective and attract more abundance into your life.
Okay, gratitude. It sounds a little woo-woo, but I'm open to it. How do Don and Susie actually see gratitude as a practical tool for wealth creation? It seems like a more personal quality, not necessarily related to finances.
They believe that when you're grateful for what you have, rather than always focusing on what you lack, you create this positive energy. And that can attract more good things into your life, including, that financial abundance. It's about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance.
So it's about appreciating what you already have rather than constantly chasing after more. It's about finding that contentment in the present moment while still striving for growth.
Exactly. And they emphasize that gratitude can be cultivated through simple practices like keeping a gratitude journal, expressing appreciation to others, or simply taking time each day to, savor the good things in your life. Yeah. It's about making gratitude a conscious habit rather than just a fleeting feeling.
It's about training your mind to focus on the positive, right? To appreciate all the abundance that already exists in your life.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's not just about feeling good, but it's about attracting more good things into your experience.
Precisely. And this brings us to another important point that Don and Susie emphasize: the importance of self-care. They believe that taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being is crucial for that sustained success.
Okay, self-care. It's a buzzword these days, but I could see how it ties into the bigger picture of wealth creation. It's tough to be successful when you're burnt out, stressed, and running on fumes.
Exactly. They see self-care as an investment in your most valuable asset. It's about having the energy, the focus, and the resilience to really pursue your goals effectively.
So it's not about being selfish. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to take care of yourself so you can give your best to your endeavors.
Precisely. Don and Susie advocate for prioritizing those self-care practices like exercise, healthy eating, getting enough sleep, mindfulness, spending time in nature. They believe that these practices enhance your productivity, creativity, and decision-making abilities.
Makes sense. When you're feeling your best, you're more likely to make those smart choices, right? Right. To have the energy to tackle challenges and to attract those positive opportunities. It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first before you can help others.
Exactly. And this leads us to a common challenge that can sabotage even the best intentions: procrastination. We've all been there, putting things off, letting tasks pile up, feeling overwhelmed. How do Don and Susie suggest we overcome this all too human tendency?
Procrastination is a real productivity killer. I'm always looking for new strategies to overcome it. What's their secret?
They recognize that procrastination often stems from fear, or feeling overwhelmed, or even a lack of clarity. They offer really practical tips like, breaking down large tasks into those smaller, more manageable steps, setting deadlines, and rewarding yourself for that progress. They also emphasize identifying those personal procrastination triggers, those things that kind of send you down that rabbit hole of avoidance, right? And developing strategies to deal with them.
So it's about understanding your own patterns and finding ways to work with them, not against them. It's about breaking down those mental barriers and creating a system that keeps you moving forward.
Precisely. And this brings us to another key ingredient for success that Don and Susie highlight: focus. They believe that focus is about directing your energy and your attention toward your most important goals and eliminating those distractions that can pull you off course.
Focus, it's something I really struggle with. There are always so many things vying for my attention. Emails, social media news alerts. How do Don and Susie suggest staying focused in this world that's constantly trying to distract us?
They advocate for creating a clear plan, identifying your top priorities, and then ruthlessly eliminating those distractions. It's about saying no to things that don't align with your vision, and saying yes to those opportunities that really move you closer to your desired outcomes. They suggest techniques like creating a dedicated workspace, setting those boundaries with technology, and scheduling those focused work sessions throughout your day.
It's like creating a laser beam of attention, directing your energy toward what truly matters and not letting yourself get distracted by all those shiny objects, right?
Exactly. And this leads to a powerful concept that can amplify your results. Leverage. We talked about it earlier in the context of real estate, but Don and Susie see leverage as a much broader principle for achieving more with less.
Okay, leverage. I'm intrigued. I always love finding ways to, work smarter, not harder. How do they suggest applying this to our lives and our businesses?
They see leverage as this ability to multiply your impact without necessarily increasing your effort. They identify various forms of leverage, like financial leverage, using debt strategically, right? Time leverage, delegating tasks or automating processes, and relationship leverage, like building a network of influential connections who can help you achieve your goals.
So it's about finding those creative ways to amplify your efforts and create those, exponential results.
Yeah.
Working smarter, not just harder, right?
Exactly. And they believe that mastering leverage is a key ingredient for scaling your success and achieving those extraordinary outcomes.
This is also empowering. It's like having this toolbox, full of strategies and techniques to help you achieve your goals more effectively.
Precisely. But sometimes the biggest obstacle to success isn't external, it's internal. Don and Susie recognize that limiting beliefs can be a major roadblock on that path to wealth creation.
Okay. Limiting beliefs. We all have them to some extent. Those negative thoughts that whisper in our ears, telling us we're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. How do Don and Susie suggest we overcome those inner saboteurs?
They encourage their clients to, become aware of their limiting beliefs, to challenge their validity, and to reframe them into more empowering thoughts. They suggest techniques like questioning those negative thoughts, writing down evidence that contradicts them, and surrounding yourself with people who believe in you and support your growth.
So it's about replacing those negative voices in your head with more positive and empowering ones, creating this mental environment that really fosters growth and abundance rather than fear and limitation.
Exactly. And they emphasize the importance of being mindful of that self-talk, those conversations you have with yourself, and consciously choosing thoughts that support your goals and aspirations.
It's like weeding your mental garden, pulling out the weeds of negativity and planting seeds of positivity and growth.
I love that analogy. And this brings us to another powerful tool that Don and Susie recommend: visualization. They believe that creating a clear mental picture of your desired outcomes can actually help you achieve them.
Okay, visualization. I've heard about this technique before, but I'll admit I'm a bit skeptical.
Yeah.
How does simply imagining something make it more likely to happen?
They see visualization as a way to program your mind for success, right? It's about creating this vivid mental image of yourself, achieving your goals, feeling those emotions associated with that success, and acting as if it's already happened. They believe that this practice can help you overcome those limiting beliefs, attract opportunities, and just stay motivated on your journey.
So it's about using the power of your imagination to create a mental blueprint for success, and then taking consistent action to bring that vision to life. It's like planting those seeds in your subconscious mind and then nurturing those seeds with action and belief.
Exactly. And this leads to another crucial element that Don and Susie highlight: the power of mentorship. They believe that having a mentor, someone who's already achieved what you aspire to, can provide invaluable guidance, support, and accountability.
Mentorship is something we've touched on before, but I'm always eager to hear more about it. How do Don and Susie suggest finding a mentor, and what actually makes a good mentor-mentee relationship?
They emphasize finding a mentor who aligns with your values and goals, someone who's genuinely invested in your success, right? And who's willing to share their knowledge and experience openly. They suggest networking, attending industry events, and reaching out to people you admire. And they encourage not just seeking mentorship, but also becoming a mentor yourself, sharing your own knowledge and experience to help others on their journey.
It's like creating this cycle of support and growth, learning from those who have gone before you and then paying it forward by helping others who are coming up behind you.
Exactly. Don and Susie believe that mentorship is this powerful way to accelerate your growth, expand your network, and create a legacy of success.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together and that we can achieve more by supporting each other.
Precisely. Now, amidst all this talk about mindset and strategy, Don and Susie also address a common trap that can sabotage your best efforts: consumerism. They believe that consumerism can drain your resources and prevent you from building true wealth.
Okay, consumerism. We live in a world that's constantly bombarding us with messages to buy more, spend more, accumulate more stuff. How do Don and Susie suggest navigating that? The allure of consumerism and staying focused on building that lasting wealth.
Yeah, they advocate for this more mindful approach to consumption. prioritizing those experiences over just buying things and investing in quality over quantity and focusing on what truly brings you joy and fulfillment, you know? They suggest creating a budget, tracking your expenses, and delaying gratification to avoid those impulse purchases and make those more conscious spending choices.
So it's about being intentional with your spending, aligning those purchases with your values, and not getting caught up in that cycle of buying things you don't need to impress people you don't even like.
Exactly. And they emphasize understanding your personal spending triggers, right? Those situations or emotions that tend to lead you to overspend and developing strategies to resist those temptations.
It's about taking control of your spending rather than letting it control you. It's about being the master of your money, not a slave to your desires.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, along with consumerism, Don and Susie address another major financial challenge: debt. It's a reality for so many people, but they believe it doesn't have to be a life sentence.
Debt is a heavy burden for a lot of people. It can feel really overwhelming and hopeless. How do Don and Susie suggest approaching debt in a way that empowers you, to take control and create that path to financial freedom?
They advocate for a proactive approach to debt management. They encourage their clients to prioritize paying down that high-interest debt first, explore options for debt consolidation or refinancing, and really develop a plan for becoming debt-free. They emphasize understanding the terms of your loans, negotiating with creditors if necessary, and seeking professional guidance if you're really struggling to manage that debt.
So it's about taking ownership of your debt, right? Rather than letting it control you. It's about understanding your options, creating a plan and taking action. It's about feeling empowered, not victimized.
Exactly. And they emphasize that becoming debt-free, it's not just about that financial freedom, right? It's about mental and emotional freedom as well. It's about releasing the weight of that burden, and creating space for growth and abundance.
It's like clearing out that clutter, both financially and emotionally, right? To make room for something new and positive to emerge.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, underpinning all of this is the importance of financial literacy, that foundational knowledge that really empowers you to make those informed decisions about your money.
Okay, financial literacy. It seems like a really basic skill that everyone should have. But I know a lot of people feel intimidated or overwhelmed by these financial matters. What do Don and Susie mean by financial literacy? And how do they suggest developing it?
They believe that financial literacy is about understanding those basic financial concepts: budgeting, saving, investing, debt management, credit, and all that. It's about having the knowledge and skills to manage your money effectively and make informed decisions that support your financial well-being.
So it's about empowering yourself with knowledge rather than feeling intimidated or overwhelmed by, financial jargon and complex concepts. It's about becoming the CEO of your own financial life.
Exactly. And they advocate for, continuously educating yourself about personal finance, seeking guidance from those trusted advisors, and staying informed about economic trends and investment opportunities. They believe that financial literacy is this lifelong pursuit that can really pay dividends throughout your life.
It's like investing in your financial education. The more you know, the better equipped you are to make those smart choices and create the financial future you desire.
Precisely. Now, Don and Susie also recognize that we're not meant to do this alone. They emphasize the power of community, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who share your values and your aspirations.
Community. It's something we've talked about before, but I'm always curious to hear more about its role in wealth creation. How do Don and Susie see community as a support system for achieving that financial success?
They believe that being part of a community of like-minded individuals can provide that encouragement, that accountability and inspiration. It's about connecting with people who understand your goals, who can share their experiences, and who can support you on your journey. They suggest joining professional organizations, attending industry events, and seeking out those online or offline communities where you can connect with people who share your interests.
It's like having this tribe of people who get it, right? Who understand those challenges and rewards of building wealth, and who can offer support and guidance along the way. It's about creating a sense of belonging and shared purpose.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Right.
And this brings us to another important aspect of wealth creation that often gets overlooked: celebrating your successes. Don and Susie are big believers in acknowledging your wins, both big and small, right? To boost your motivation and reinforce those positive habits.
Okay, celebrating successes. That sounds like fun. I'm all for finding reasons to celebrate. But how does celebration actually contribute to wealth creation? Seems like a separate thing.
They see celebration as a way to reinforce those positive actions and to create this, positive feedback loop. When you acknowledge your wins, you feel good, right? And that positive feeling makes you want to keep going, to achieve even more. It's like giving yourself a pat on the back and saying, hey, I'm doing this, I'm making progress.
So it's not just about indulging yourself. It's about creating a positive association with the process of building wealth. It's about making that journey enjoyable and rewarding.
Exactly. And they suggest finding ways to celebrate that are meaningful to you, whether it's a special dinner, a weekend getaway, or simply taking time to reflect on your accomplishments and appreciate how far you've come.
It's about savoring those moments of success and using them to fuel your motivation for the next chapter. Now, Don and Susie also address something that might seem counterintuitive: the fear of success. It sounds strange, but I can see how it might be a real obstacle for some people.
They recognize that fear of success. It can be a real thing. It can stem from a variety of underlying beliefs and fears, such as a fear of change, a fear of responsibility, a fear of judgment from others, or even a fear of not being worthy of that success,
So it's not that people don't want to be successful, right?
Yeah.
It's that they're afraid of what success might bring, the
Yeah.
changes, the
Yeah.
challenges, the potential for disappointment.
Exactly. And they offer strategies for addressing this fear, such as, identifying and challenging those limiting beliefs, reframing success in a more positive light, and seeking support from trusted advisors or therapists.
So it's about acknowledging those fears and finding ways to work through them, right?
Right.
So they don't hold you back from achieving your full potential.
Precisely. And this leads us to another crucial ingredient for success that Don and Susie emphasize: self-belief. They see it as this unwavering confidence in your ability to achieve your goals, regardless of those external circumstances or setbacks. It's about having faith in your vision, your skills, and your resilience.
It's about trusting yourself and your capabilities, even when faced with those challenges or doubts. It's about knowing deep down that you have what it takes to succeed.
Exactly. They believe that self-belief, it's a crucial ingredient for overcoming those obstacles, attracting those opportunities, and staying motivated, on that wealth creation journey.
It's about developing that unshakable belief in your potential and your ability to create the life you desire. Now, Don and Susie also talk about the power of collaboration, working together with others to achieve those shared goals. They seem to believe that collaboration is a key ingredient for amplifying that success.
They do. They see collaboration as a way to leverage the strengths, the skills, and the resources of multiple individuals to create something bigger and better than you could achieve alone. It's about recognizing that you don't have to do everything yourself. You can accomplish more by working with others who complement your strengths and, kind of fill in your gaps.
So it's about finding the right partners, building that trust, communicating effectively, and creating those win-win scenarios, right, where everyone involved benefits from the collaboration.
Exactly. And they believe that collaboration can lead to greater innovation, creativity, and efficiency. It's about tapping into that collective wisdom and energy of a team to achieve extraordinary results.
It's about recognizing that we're stronger together than we are alone. Now, in today's rapidly changing world, Don and Susie also emphasize the importance of innovation. They seem to believe that innovation is essential for staying ahead of the curve and creating lasting wealth.
They do. They see innovation as the ability to generate those new ideas, create new solutions, and adapt to, those changing circumstances. It's about thinking outside the box, challenging the status quo, and constantly seeking ways to improve and evolve.
So it's not about being stuck in the past or doing things the way they've always been done. It's about finding better and more efficient ways to create value, solve problems, and meet the needs of the marketplace.
Exactly. They encourage their clients to cultivate a mindset of curiosity, to experiment with new approaches, and to be open to feedback. They believe that innovation is a key driver of growth and success in any field.
It's about being a lifelong learner and constantly seeking ways to expand your knowledge, your skills, and your perspective. Now, amidst all this talk about strategy and innovation, Don and Susie also address the importance of managing our emotions, right? Especially when it comes to making those financial decisions.
They recognize that emotions can play a big role in our financial choices, and not always in a positive way. Fear, greed, impulsivity. Those emotions can lead us to make decisions that aren't in our best interest.
So how do they suggest navigating those emotional pitfalls and making those, more rational, sound financial decisions?
They emphasize becoming aware of your emotional triggers, right? Those situations or feelings that tend to lead you to make those impulsive or irrational choices. They suggest techniques like taking time to cool down before making major financial decisions, seeking advice from trusted advisors, and having a clear plan in place that aligns with your long-term goals.
So it's like having a system of checks and balances, right, to prevent those emotional hijackings and to ensure that your decisions are aligned with both your head and your heart.
Exactly. And this leads us to another crucial virtue for wealth creation that Don and Susie emphasize: patience. We live in a world that values instant gratification, but they believe that patience is essential for achieving that long-term financial success.
Patience is something I definitely need to work on. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life and to want results right away. But how do they view patience as a key ingredient for building wealth?
They see patience as this ability to delay gratification, to stay focused on your long-term goals, and to trust the process even when results aren't immediately apparent. They believe that patience is especially important in areas like real estate investing, where market cycles can fluctuate and appreciation takes time to materialize.
So it's about resisting the temptation to chase those quick wins and understanding that building lasting wealth, it takes time, consistent effort, and a willingness to ride out those inevitable ups and downs.
Exactly. They encourage their clients to focus on the long game, to make those smart strategic decisions, and to trust that their efforts will eventually pay off.
It's about having that unwavering belief in the power of compounding and knowing that consistency over time is the key to unlocking that exponential growth. Now, in addition to patience, Don and Susie also highlight the importance of networking, right? Building those relationships with others who can support your journey and create opportunities.
They do. They believe that networking is about more than just collecting business cards. It's about building those genuine connections, sharing your knowledge and resources, and seeking those mutually beneficial opportunities. They encourage their clients to approach networking with a mindset of generosity and service, rather than just looking for what they can get out of it.
So it's about building authentic relationships based on trust, mutual respect, and a willingness to help each other succeed. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, and that collaboration can lead to greater success for everyone involved.
Exactly. And this brings us to another crucial aspect of wealth creation that Don and Susie emphasize: personal growth. They believe that investing in yourself is one of the most important things you can do to create a life of abundance.
Okay, personal growth. We've talked about mentorships and communities, but what do they specifically mean by personal growth, and how does it relate to building wealth?
They see personal growth as this continuous journey of expanding your knowledge, your skills, and your mindset. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, pushing yourself beyond that comfort zone, and embracing new challenges and opportunities.
So it's not just about financial growth, right? It's about developing your character, your skills, your relationships, and your overall well-being.
Exactly. They encourage their clients to invest in themselves through activities like reading, attending courses, seeking mentorship, traveling, and engaging in activities that challenge and inspire them.
It's about recognizing that you are your greatest asset, and that investing in your personal growth can have this ripple effect on all areas of your life, including, that financial success. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to highlight one final point that Don and Susie emphasize: the importance of having a strong why when it comes to wealth creation.
A strong why. It's about identifying your deepest motivations, for wanting to build wealth. What are those driving forces? What are your aspirations? What legacy do you want to create?
So it's not just about the money itself, right? It's about the purpose behind it, the reasons why you're on this journey in the first place.
Exactly. Don and Susie believe that having a strong why can provide clarity, motivation, and resilience when faced with challenges. It's about connecting your financial goals to something bigger than yourself, something that gives you that sense of purpose and fulfillment.
That's like having a compass.
Yeah.
That guides you in the right direction and keeps you going when that journey gets tough.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And remember, Don and Susie, they're all about real estate, right? So when we talk about their clients having a strong why, it often means finding those unique real estate opportunities, those hidden gems that other people might overlook.
Right. It's not just about buying any property. It's about finding those special properties that have the potential for significant appreciation, and those properties that align with your overall goals and vision.
Exactly. And they're big advocates for finding those undervalued properties, those diamonds in the rough that can be acquired at a bargain and then transformed into those profitable assets.
Okay, undervalued properties. How do you even spot those? In today's market, it seems like everything is so overpriced.
Don and Susie have a few tricks up their sleeve. They encourage looking for properties in those up-and-coming neighborhoods that are showing signs of growth and revitalization. They also suggest considering those properties that need some work, right? Those fixer-uppers that can be renovated and either flipped for a quick profit or held as long-term rentals.
So it's about Being a bit of a real estate detective, right?
Yeah.
Looking for those hidden gems that other people might miss. It's about having that vision for what a property could become and being willing to put in the work to make that vision a reality.
Precisely. And they also emphasize networking, building relationships with real estate agents, wholesalers, and other investors, who might have access to those off-market deals, those properties that aren't publicly listed but can be acquired through those private connections.
So it's about being proactive, tapping into those insider networks, and not being afraid to think outside the box to find those hidden opportunities.
Exactly. And once you've identified a potential property, Don and Susie highlight the importance of negotiation. They believe that negotiation is a crucial skill for any investor, and that it's about finding a win-win solution that benefits both parties.
Okay, negotiation. This seems like a high-stakes game, especially when you're dealing with, large sums of money. What are some of their key negotiation principles?
They emphasize understanding the seller's motivations, being prepared with your own research and your offers, and being willing to walk away if the deal doesn't meet your criteria. They also suggest things like, active listening, building rapport, and finding those creative solutions to kind of bridge the gap between those buyer and seller expectations.
So it's about being assertive, but also respectful, right? Finding that balance between getting a good deal and maintaining a positive relationship.
Exactly. It's about seeing negotiation as this collaborative process rather than a battle to be won. It's about finding common ground, creating value for both sides, and ultimately reaching an agreement that everyone feels good about.
It sounds like negotiation is both an art and a science. It's about having the knowledge, the skills, and the right mindset to navigate those complex conversations effectively. Now, Don and Susie also talk about building a personal brand, especially in the real estate world. How does that tie into wealth creation?
They believe that building a personal brand is about establishing your credibility, showcasing your expertise, and creating a positive reputation in your field. It's about becoming known for something, right? For having a unique value proposition that sets you apart from the competition.
So it's about building a reputation for excellence, for delivering results, and for being someone people trust and want to do business with.
Exactly. They suggest strategies like developing a clear message, sharing your knowledge through content creation, networking strategically, and consistently delivering exceptional results for your clients.
It's about becoming a magnet for the right kind of opportunities by building a brand that really represents quality, integrity, and value.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Don and Susie's wisdom, I think it's clear that they offer a holistic approach. It goes beyond just financial strategies. It's about mindset, personal growth, relationships, and contributing to something larger than yourself.
It's about creating a life of abundance in all areas, not just financially. It's about living with purpose, passion, and a commitment to making a positive impact in the world.
Exactly. And I think the most inspiring takeaway is that this kind of success, it's available to anyone who's willing to put in the effort to learn to grow and to never give up on their dreams.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it all. You're not a victim of circumstance. You have choices. You have agency. And with the right knowledge, mindset, and support, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. So what stands out to you? What are you going to do differently after this deep dive?
Remember, knowledge is only powerful when it's applied. Take these insights, put them into action and start creating the financial future you deserve.
And if there's one thing to remember from our deep dive today, it's this. Building wealth. It's a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the process, embrace the challenges, and never stop learning and growing. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep reaching for your dreams.